Welcome back. If you just joined us, you are just in time. It's time for Business Hub right here on Smooth 98.1.
Yes, indeed. It is a smooth drive. My name is Judith Atibi.
I'm Kayode
And we
Bakerr.
have a special guest joining us today. Unfortunately, Roshis cannot make it, but we will do fine without him because we have a very special, lovely lady here joining us today. And we're talking...
Oh, go on. Sorry to cut you short.
I will just flog you now. We're talking about sales strategies for SMEs, and we have with us a special guest. She's a business development consultant. Her name is Tolani Thomas. You're welcome to the show, Tolani.
Thank you so much, Judith and Kayode, for having me.
How are you doing today? Great?
You have to come up closer to the microphone and say that again.
Hi, Judith. Hi,
That's
Kayode.
it. There you
Hello.
are. That's the
There you
energy
go.
we're looking for.
All right, if you're out there and you want to be a part of our conversation, it's very simple. What you can do is reach out to us on 0809-444-0981. In fact, we're going to open the phone lines as well to, have your thoughts. So call the number 014489-981 to be part of our conversation.
All right. So let's get started, Tolani. And the very most, maybe the most, just to kick things off nicely on the show, how important are sales strategies to SMEs?
I would say 101%. They're very, very important because sales are the lifeline of the business. If you're running a business and you're not making sales, your business is going to die.
True.
And we don't want that to happen.
Yes,
We know
indeed.
that SMEs have most SMEs before 5 years, when they start off, they expire before 5 years. So about 80 to 90% of SMEs don't make it to the 5-year mark. So if you're not making sales, your business is going to go under, and nobody wants that. So,
Oh, wow.
Wow, 90%. That's a heavy number.
yeah, it is.
Wow.
Okay, but is every business involved in sales, though?
Yes, every business is involved in
Whether
sales.
whether service-based or...
Whether service-based or whether product-based, you have to have a customer that you're selling to, that you're making money from.
Okay.
Because that's what's going to keep the business running. I mean, if you're not going to be able to pay salaries, you're not running. Even charities have to make sales in a way, you know.
I mean,
Because they need to,
Like,
like you're
they
right,
need-
you have to
they
pay
need-
salaries.
I mean, if it's an NGO, you still have to
You
pay
still have to,
salaries.
You have to
you
finance yourself, put the lights
figure
on.
it out, yeah.
So what happens if the strategies don't work?
Wow, then you had to, go back to ground zero, day one, and look at your business plan and what was the original strategy. Why did you start business? What was the vision? What was the mission? And, identify who you're trying to sell to and then go from there. So if the strategies don't work, you just have to keep trying new things. There are probably 1,000,001 different sales strategies you can try out. So, if one doesn't work for you, another will work. So you just keep going until you figure out what works for you, and then you can move from there.
I like the fact that you said you have to figure out what works for you. So is there a timeline to figure it out? Do you have to wait like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, before you say, hey, this thing isn't working out, or maybe I should try another pattern to this?
So every business is unique. Every industry is unique. Everything, they vary from business to business. So before you figure out what works for you, you probably have some money saved up for inside your business that you can use to keep the lights on, pay salaries, and actually fund your sales and marketing. You have some businesses that are big enough to have only one client in an entire year, and that would keep everybody happy. But you have some businesses that if you don't sell every day, that's the end of.
But how often should, this strategies that we're talking about, how often should it be updated or maybe restructured?
I would say on a quarterly basis, every 3 months, just sit down with your team, look at what has worked and what didn't work, and then move from there. Because you have to constantly be evolving. Things move on so fast, so you have to look at your industry trends, look at what your competitors are doing, and see how you can adapt, not copy, adapt that to yourself.
I love the fact that you said adapt and not copy, but in a way, how do you test? How do you figure it out? When you're trying to adapt in such a way, how do you test what is different from what is not different from what your competitors are doing?
So if you are in an industry that you already know what's going on, what your competitors are, and you're looking at what they're doing. Are your competitors on social media? Are they on TV? Are they on radio? Are they in the newspaper every day? You have to understand what is relevant for that industry and go from there. So you will now use that to develop your own strategy based on what is the common practice in your industry, and you have an edge because your competitors are doing it a certain way. You can now look and learn from their own errors.
Flaws?
Yes, and their own mistakes, and then build on that instead of trial and error. But you have some trial and error when you start business, but it's always sensible to learn from other people, to learn from other people's mistakes than to be the scapegoat.
More like you're saying get a mentor though, but in the business sense.
Yeah, but
Yeah, mentors, you don't have to get close to the person. Like Richard Branson is my mentor, but I've never seen him in my life.
that's on point. That's what I'm talking about.
If you're out there and you want to be a part of our conversation, jump in and send us questions now, okay? Send them to 0809-444-0981. Tolani Thomas is here to answer all your questions. We're talking sales strategies for SMEs.
Yeah, so doing business in Nigeria is very peculiar. It's a very peculiar situation. The Nigerian market is really peculiar. So when you talk about sales strategies, should there be a unique type of strategy that's tailored to this
Market,
Yeah.
this Nigeria,
volatile,
very
volatile market that
anything
we're
can
in?
change any day. So for that, I would say you have to know who your customers are. You have to understand your target audience. So who are you trying to sell to? What are you trying to sell? If you know your target audience and your products more than anybody else, you'll be able to conquer any market. You know what they say, if you succeed in Nigeria, you can succeed anywhere in the world.
Oh, wow. Anywhere? Anywhere?
Well, maybe not Antarctica, but
All right. Okay, so let's move on real quick, though. Let's talk about sales strategies for the Nigerian market, but away from that also, let's talk about strategies that you would recommend. So let's say I had a new type of business, maybe an
Hang on,
internet-based business.
I think we do have
Okay.
a call here. Let's see if we can take that call first before we take your message, Kayode. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Okay, your name where you're calling us from, please.
Okay, this is calling from a better.
Your name is?
Sewell.
Sewell,
Sewell.
do you mind moving closer to your phone?
Okay.
All right, because we can hardly hear what you're saying.
All right. I want to ask this a question.
Okay, go on.
Okay. In a situation whereby maybe the price is an issue, to your customer, maybe competitors are selling probably or they are rendering a service in a kind of a lesser price or service render. So, and yours is on a high side, depending on the kind of quality of service you have and all of that. Is that really going to affect your business on a kind of red part of it?
So you're asking about the pricing and your customers, how it's going to affect them when your pricing is a lot different from the next person who's in the same market as you, in the same field as you, right? Okay. She's going to answer that question.
Thank you so much.
that's a very brilliant question. Thank you so much for calling in. So I would say this. I always say this to entrepreneurs everywhere I go. Do not compete on price. You're not a commodity. I mean, it's not petrol you're selling, are you? I mean, you're not selling biscuit and sweets. So your price is is not a good strategy to like, oh, I'm cheaper than everybody else. Nobody wants the cheap option. They are choosing the cheap option because
Nobody wants a cheap option?
no, they're choosing the cheap option because they're stuck. But what happens when a person has more money tomorrow? What happens when they become a millionaire? Are they going to go back to that cheap option? No.
But here's the thing, though. If there are two, let's use a smartphone as an example, right? There are two smartphones here. I'm selling a cheaper one, or rather, Judith is selling the cheaper one, and you're selling the same one. I would buy the cheaper one because it makes more logical sense.
Yeah, but Kayode, everyone wants an iPhone, but not everyone is buying an iPhone. And they would want it because they
Yeah, they
cannot
want
afford
it.
it. And
It's
immediately
a-
when they're
it's a
able to
it's a
afford
status
iPhone,
symbol.
they would go for an iPhone because it's a status symbol, like she said.
Yeah, well, I would go for the cheap option regardless.
You're
You're
just a
not
cheap-
the customer.
you're just a cheapskate, Kayode.
You're not the customer.
No, I'm just being
So
prudent.
it's about your branding and the quality that you have to position yourself and present yourself to your customers that you are the valuable option.
Of
Even
course.
if it's the same thing the other person is selling, it's the exact same thing. But your branding is what will set you apart from your competitors. Like showing that okay, this thing is of higher quality and this thing is a brand. It's a status symbol. I mean, smartphones are pretty much the same. Like you have in Samsung, there's some features that are available in that one before it comes out in iPhone. But you see, whenever there's a new one, we are rushing. People literally queue up to buy iPhones.
It's
It's
the
the
status symbol,
brand.
like you
Yeah.
mentioned. All right, if you just joined us, like I mentioned, and you want to be a part of our conversation, please send us messages, okay? To 0809 444 We're talking business strategies for SMEs. Let's go on that break. Alrighty, welcome back. If you just joined us, you haven't missed too much though, but you've missed quite a bit. This is Business Hub on Smooth 98.1. My name is Kayode Bakerr.
And I'm Judith, Atibi. Our special guest today is Tolani Thomas. She is a business consultant here to help us understand strategies, sales strategies for small business owners, entrepreneurs. How we be able to make sales in your business, especially during this pandemic, in this panorama that we're in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You can join the conversation. Send us a WhatsApp message to 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981. You can call us up on 01 448 9981. We have a call here. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Fine, thank you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
AY is my name. I'm calling from Third Mainland Bridge.
AY is on Third Mainland. What's your question for Tolani, our guest?
Okay. My question for Tolani is that so I started an SME, a small business, like 3 years ago. It was in photography, right? But in my case, I didn't have the time. So I partnered up with someone who had the time, but I had the resources, right? So my question is, why do partnerships often fail in Nigeria? It actually does fail a lot. I don't know the statistics, but it actually does fail a lot. I mean, partnership businesses tend to fail a lot more than sole proprietorships. So that's, my question. That is it a strategy thing, or is it just the partners don't, can get it together? That's just my question.
But what was your own situation? What happened with your own partnership? What do you think? I mean, tell us what it was like.
Well, my partnership was, I think it was a combination of so many things. My partner wasn't as invested as I was because I put in resources. He was putting in more of human resources, basically. And I guess he probably didn't place much value on the human resources he was bringing to the table. I mean, for me to invest such, I put, much value in his human resource. I could have as well gone with someone else. You understand? But I placed a certain amount of value on that. But I guess he didn't place that much value on what he was bringing to the table. So as far as he didn't invest money, he wasn't that enthusiastic about the business, and I didn't have much time, so that was why I partnered with him. So in the long run, I was the one bringing more of the customers. He that had more time was hardly doing any marketing whatsoever.
Sounds like you should have just been alone.
Exactly.
Sounds like you've just been alone.
That was basically because it got to a point where I didn't even have the time anymore. I'm a salesman, so I'm always moving around. I'm always busy. So at the long run, I didn't have the time anymore to actually source for customers, which he should have been doing, and that was basically what.
Okay, AY, tell you what, let's allow Tolani respond to your question, by the way.
AY, thank you so much for
But
calling.
thank
I
you so
appreciate
much
your
for
call there. I can hear from his voice how grieved. He wanted to
really
say
hurts
more,
him,
boy.
like-
Exactly, he
There's
wanted
a
to
lot
say
there.
more, but at the same time, he was holding back. Like, oh my God, maybe
If you
this
could
person
mention the
is
person's
listening,
name,
he would have done it.
No, but Tolani, listening to what he has said, though, what would you recommend?
And what's the cause of the failure? Because that was his first question.
Okay, the first thing is this: before you go into any form of partnership, any form of agreement with anyone, you have to have the terms clearly stated out in writing, black and white. Because I have, experienced what this person has experienced. I've experienced bad partnerships and I've experienced good partnerships as well. And the trick is this: you have to make sure that your interests align. So this person, do they want the same thing as you? Like, he wanted the business to succeed clearly because he was bringing customers, he invested in it and all of that, but the other person wasn't really interested. But the other person just wanted somewhere to be going every day, to keep busy and be active and maybe collecting salary. In fact, you need to make sure that your interests align, like you both want the same thing, like you see the same thing, and carry each other along every step of the way. That's how a good partnership should run. Then another thing, this is where the Nigerian factor comes to play. So there's a lot of people feel like, oh, Nigerians are not 100% honest, but I honestly think that is wrong. I feel like there are a lot of honest Nigerians out there, but the thing is
I
this.
think so too.
The thing is this. Energy does not lie. So if somebody is going to be dubious at some point, you would have seen the indication from day
Please say it
one.
again. Say it again for the kids at the back.
Energy does not lie.
All right.
Preach.
So you would have seen it from day one that this person, they would have done something in front of you.
Red flags.
There's some red flags that you might not even pay attention to. Like, it might not even be a business red flag. It might just be a character flaw. Like, I did the kind of person that they would, I don't want to say run red lights, but just do some minor things. I'm like, I can get away with it.
Does this person have integrity?
Yes, there is no integrity in that person that did that to him. That's what happened. And he would have seen it, but he would have said, oh no, you won't bring it to the business. And that is what happens, because I've experienced this before, that I was running a company and there was a staff in the company that I noticed that used to steal a bit.
I used to steal a bit.
And I was like, it's just a bit.
I didn't know people steal a bit.
Say maybe 5,000, 7,000. Like, okay, no, I'll manage the boy. And then someone came to me one day and said, that boy is very disrespectful. Like, he didn't know who I was and he was being disrespectful to me. And when he found out who I was, he now started apologizing and said, don't tell my madam. And at that point in time, that was my indication that, fire this person. But I was like, no, we'll manage him. When will I find other stuff? Story. Next thing I know, this guy goes to a client site and then steals iPad.
Oh, wow.
They're involving police. So at that point in time, I ignored a lot of red flags, like small things. And it beats me, in my behind at the end of the day.
It cost you more.
Yeah, and it cost me more because it cost me a major client at the end of the day. So, that's what it is. Energy does not lie. If somebody is going to do you strong thing in the future, you will know already.
Preach. We have messages here. This is
wow.
Nedu. Nedu goes, strategies are broadly divided into two categories. Price differentiation, cheaper, and product differentiation. That's luxury and niche. Successful businesses are those who know how to select the appropriate category for their business and stick to it. There's nothing wrong with lowering your price if you have chosen a price differentiation strategy. And that's from Nedu. I have this here. I know you were trying to trade there, but I don't want to really
let's acknowledge it. Nedu MBA. We see you.
If I catch you.
Nice one.
If I catch you. Anyway, I have this messages here. This is Ibrahim, and it goes, excellent stuff from Tolani. Tailoring your products or services to suit the profile of your audience is indeed very important. Yes, my integrity is intact. Last honest man in Lagos. Now, so
plus me too. That makes two of us. You
this
and me both.
message here. This is KB. He goes, good evening, KB and Judith Atibi. I am Kingsley from Ikeja. I have a question. My business is suffering at the moment largely because I still work. So I want to ask, at what point do you advise someone to quit a 9-to-5 and face business solely, and that's a side business? And how can one outsource those things that bring in good money but you don't have good knowledge about and still maximize potential and profit? I'm going to take his last message here. This is A-Wise thanking you for your response. He goes, Tolani hit the nail on the head. They are honest people, plus pricing is a strategy, works, but in the short term. And I'm going to tie this to my own question because I have a lot of questions to answer. I'm sorry. And I see this trend on Instagram or some businesses where they start out their business and they start out with the product at an affordable price, not too cheap, but just that affordable sweet point, to garner customers. That's what I think. I'm trying to think that's what the strategy is. But after a while, they skyrocket the price. And I'm wondering, does that strategy work? Does it work? And
It does.
It does. It works. It works very well. It's called price scheming. Price scheming strategies is a pricing strategy that you can employ, where at the start of your business, your products are kind of like average price and competitive. So when you have enough customers and you have enough evidence that you are a legitimate business, you just start increasing the prices slowly because probably the prices of the things that you're spending on they are rising. I mean, dollar is going up every day.
But wouldn't that take a hit on your integrity? Because I mean, if I come to your page, I see prices move from, let's say, as little as 5,000 or as much as 5,000 to 10,000. I would patronize someone else. I would give him a chance.
You miss an adjective that she said. She said small.
I know, but regardless, though, like you mentioned, it grows, right?
Yes.
So I think there will be some people that will be scared, right?
There will be people that will be scared, but let's look at the economics of it. If you're selling to 20 people in a month and maybe 10,000 naira, and you increase the price to 20,000 naira, and you're selling to just 10 people, you're still going to end up at the same amount of money. You serve less people, less stress, less people in your DMs, less people calling you in the middle of the night to ask you about how much is this thing. So do you understand? So it's going to even out eventually.
All right.
Preach. Okay, so to this person's message, to Kingsley's message about when to quit his 9 to 5 to face his business solely, and how he can, outsource those things that bring him good money, but the things he doesn't have good knowledge about, and still maximize, potential and profit.
That's like 10 questions in one.
I know, right?
So quitting your 9 to 5, I don't want anybody to take my advice, because when I quit my own 9 to 5,
You are still struggling,
my darling, the first month I made 20,000.
Do you have to quit your 9 to 5 though? Because
some people do it successfully. I don't want to name any brand. I don't want to give anybody free advert here, but some people do it successfully and they're working 9 to 5 and they're still running, their side. It's not even a side business at that point. It's now
a
something else.
Business.
And they're employing people and it's going on fine. So it's possible. There are people that do it. People that have the energy can do it.
Do it again.
People that have the energy. So you read online and they say, if you have 6 months of your expenses saved up, then you can quit your 9 to 5, or 1 year. For some people that are scared, you can then quit your 9 to 5. But it all depends on you. You will know when to jump into the ocean.
Take that step. But let's talk about the Nigerian economy, because we have to factor that in. You just mentioned a few minutes ago, dollar is higher, inflation has gone up, everything is expensive, right? So what is the best strategy to survive in the times that we find ourselves in right now?
The best strategy that I would say, general strategies: understand your audience more than anybody. Understand your audience, understand the products that they need. So when it makes it easier for them to work with you, because they feel like you know what they want, and when they come to you, it's easy. They essentially just need 1 or 2 things like to convince them before they buy from you. Another thing: price your products in dollars. So if you like the dollar should go up, you are good.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But if you don't have a website in that situation, you're selling on Instagram, or like your storefront is on Facebook and Instagram, and your market is solely Nigerian, would you still do that?
Yes. So you would just peg it against dollar. Like I had a product that was I had a service rather that I call it a product. I productize all my services. So it's like a one-on-one strategy session and it's just $100. When I started, it was 36,000 naira. Today it's 50K. I'm not looking for a while because I don't want to lose money.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how many clients you have, your price still remains the same.
And it's very important that you price yourself appropriately. Because people would regard you in that way. Like if your product is cheap, I'm like, I beg this one. Do you understand? You don't want that situation where people feel like, this person I go to when I want cheap things. You want to be the brand that people come to like, let me gather my money and go and give this person. Do you understand? You want to be the brand that people look at you and be like, I don't care how much this thing is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy it.
There's a particular fashion brand that I'm gathering my money to buy a dress. And tell you, it's just a sundress. I don't know why. I'm just looking to buy it so I can go on brunch and then take a photograph with myself and my friends for brunch. And that dress is like what? I can't even say it because my father will just call me. Anyway, to end the show today, the Nigerian economy is I mean, there's no adjective to describe it. But does the challenging Nigerian economy make sales harder? Does it?
It does. That's the honest truth. It's more difficult to sell. That's why I say if you succeed there, you can succeed anywhere. It's more difficult to sell here than probably anywhere else. Maybe war-torn zones, God forgive me. That's that's probably harder to sell there. But it's hard for everyone. People in services, our trust factor is low. So services is about building trust with your customers. So before people even trust you to hand over money, you speak a lot of English. Just to get them to just make that sale. Even if you're selling products, e-commerce is harder because at the point people outside the country start noticing your products and want to buy. It's hard for you to collect money from them. There are different policies that are holding you back. And logistics, that's another hassle. It's just there's so many things, like so many small issues.
I like the way you say that though, but I had this conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and he talked about the fact that in as much as it's really hard to do business in Nigeria, it's also the best place to thrive. Better than anywhere else in the world. Do you agree with that?
That's very...
Okay, I say this because he said, we talked about red tapes, we talked about taxes, finances, we talked about other things, and we talked about exposure, right? And, in Nigeria, it's a growing economy. You can literally sell anything to anyone, depending on what it is, though. And then you could become a millionaire overnight. So we hear that all the time. Is it possible? Do you agree with that?
Well, it's a wonderful thing and a bad thing at the same time that you can become a millionaire overnight. Because in a proper economy, proper society where there's meritocracy, like you are rewarded for the work that you do. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be. You can just wake up one day, maybe today now, somebody, they appoint your uncle as minister of something. Next thing they'll give you contract 1 billion naira, bam. And they'll ask you, how did you say he was gone?
Oh!
That shouldn't be. Because I'm sure there are people that were there 2-3 years before you, they were bidding for the same job. But because your uncle got it, they will not push it to you. And you not say, Nigeria is a great place to do business.
In one word, you're saying it's cutting corners and...
Cutting corners is why it's so easy to make it here. And that's not fair to the average Nigerian. All of us that are here today, we have some form of privilege, but it's not fair because the average Nigerian that goes to public school and all of that will not be able to get those opportunities as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, wow,
Tolani,
we really shut out of time.
It's been wonderful having you here join us today. It's wonderful for having you join us. If you just tuned in, you've missed quite a lot. We have with us
missed the whole show.
Too much, but it's gonna be on YouTube. So make sure to stick around. We're gonna upload it on YouTube real quick in the next 20 minutes, so you can catch the replay. Tolani Thomas is a business consultant. She joins us live today. Talk about strategies for small businesses, sales strategies for small businesses. Tolani, thank you.
How can the good people of Lagos find you on social media?
At Tolani Thomas on all platforms.
All platforms, except Twitter.
I love Twitter. Please, nobody come and carry me.
Lagos, there is more to come, so we recommend you stay close to your radio. This is The Smooth Drive on Smooth 98.1.
If all three sectors can work together.
For everything business.